All right. I started recording. Genesis, you were very mysterious on the name of the show you want to do. You want to do a reveal. You want to keep it to yourself, don't you?
I honestly want to keep it to myself. It's one of those ideas where you come up with it and you want to actually market it, but then you have no resources. You don't have the, I don't know, maybe the mental ability to just see it through, but it just sounds real cool. So you can imagine what it would look like. You know, it's kind of like you see something already marketed and you see it, and you see the finished product. So you're like, man, that's great. And then you can actually imagine somebody else's finished product, how it looked in their head before and how they thought, I want to do this. I want to do a shirt and this and that. So you see the finished product, but you also kind of pretend like you can see what they envisioned, and man, it worked out. So I had this idea, and of course it was powerlifting based. Me going to the gym, one of the things that I learned is asking random people to have a spot, and a lot of times after somebody a spot, they'll say, they'll tell me, "Good job, that's a lot of weight," stuff like that, and I'll always let them know, like, I couldn't have done it without you, because having a spot for me, it takes the pressure off my joints, my front delts. So what I was thinking of, I always have a spot. So in my Instagram, I have an Instagram. I always think whoever spots me, if they're on Instagram, I tag them and I let people know, spot credit to this person. So I was thinking it'd be nice if you went to a gym where if you needed a spot, there was a staff member who was on call, who was just there, and you can trust and actually knew how to spot. That's another issue, is somebody who actually who knows how to spot you. Now, don't touch the bar. I'm pretty sure we'll get into that at some point. So my idea was, I wanted to go to a powerlifting meet, and my powerlifting meet, I always think about these cool things I'm gonna do that makes me look like a badass. Like on my last lift, on deadlift, you don't have to wear the undershirt. So I'm like, on my last lift, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna have the shirt off. I'm gonna look like a beast, or I'm gonna go screaming, and it never turns out that way. So I was like, one day I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna have everybody that go. We're gonna have these shirts, and it's gonna represent me. And so what I wanted my spotter, whoever spotted me in my next competition. This is a long, just for this reveal.
Fine.
But I thought an idea on the back of the shirt, it would be, "We got your spot."
Mm-hmm.
And that was my whole idea. So something along that line, like, I know it's kind of cheesy. It's kind of like a play off the whole "I got your six" type deal. But I was thinking, "We got your spot," or "I got your spot."
That'll work. Well, we can't steal it now because it's been recorded. So if I say it's my idea, I'm not deleting this.
But yeah, I always thought that was cool because, having a spotter for me is important. And there's certain different ways to encourage people as far as at the gym. I don't need to be yelled at. I don't need to be smacked. I just kind of, me and my spotter, we have these little quiet, little motivational speaks. I'll tell him, how the lift felt. He may give me a suggested, well, you did this, you did that, may agree, you got this, and then boom, I'm right back at it. And then he knows how I like my spot. He knows where to put the bar in front of me, when to go over, or he'll tell me, maybe you should just I do pause reps. How about you just don't do pause reps? So I'm depending on my spotter to let me know how the lift looks, because it always feels rough for me. It hurts. It feels tougher than what it really is. And my spotter has the view and can tell me, like, "Oh, that was a good one," or you're leaning a little bit to the right, you're favoring this side. So a spotter for me is very essential. So hence the "We got your spot."
Mm-hmm.
Cheesy, but
I'm not. Don't base anything on my reaction. We'll see.
I know there's something better out there, but we got your spot T-shirts coming soon.
I always tell people about, like, when you're trying to name shit. I'm so bad at naming things, but whatever you end up choosing, you end up liking. Even if you're lucky, you like it right away. But even if you don't like it right away, you repeat that shit like 20 times, 30 times. Like, this place is called the Green Door. And when we first thought of it, we thought of like a bunch of stuff. And we went back and forth, and me and another dude almost got in a fight. Like, not a real fight, but and he's like, "Just pick something." And I was like, "It's got to feel right," because we almost picked, a couple different things. And now it's the Green Door, and I'm starting to really like it. Like, it's there, and I'm starting to really like it. And the idea of having the Green Door Studio also sounds good, because I wanted to do some other stuff. And, I wanted to call it New Leaf. just based on I always talk about self-improvement, physically, mentally, all that stuff constantly. And then like I said, I'll do it in 3 to 1 month bursts. But so I wanted to call the studio New Leaf. And he's like, well, that sounds like maybe like a Scientology thing or like something where like you get in there and
want to touch that.
yeah. So I was like, well, all right, I guess we won't do that. So so today's topic. Now you said Genesis. You said you also think you know what kind of music, right? Or no? Do you
What
know
music?
Do you know what kind of? Maybe it was somebody else.
Nah,
I think I'm confusing somebody else.
Yes.
I think I have a song. That I want to start off with. So when I edit the one we did last week, I'll add it in, and you let me know.
I'm curious now.
I'm not letting you know.
Okay.
It's not going to be. It's going to be like a heavy metal kind of thing. So, and it's from a movie, and you'll probably know which one it is, even though it's like it's just a.
It better be
seconds.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
No, are you serious?
No, it's not. From
Okay.
Do you think it was an Aerosmith one? No. But you guys will see. And then like I was telling Greg, I got to figure out the transition noise.
Okay.
Ooh, you know what it could be? Maybe it could be like a plate hitting another plate, like that bounce, cling, 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 cling.
Oh.
I just have to find that noise.
That could work, yeah.
Or kind of like the old school Stone Cold, but when he walked in, that
The glass shatter.
the glass
That
shattering,
worked too.
the Stone
I'll get
Cold.
a couple.
That was the best part of Stone Cold.
Yeah, well, you could do the glass shattering, the clinking. For some reason, it sounds so stupid, but I'm thinking of all these like powerful, like cheesy, powerful things. So we could have an eagle just going, ah! Or, I don't know, like a puma growling,
A puma.
a puma or a tiger or something. I don't know. So the topic this week, and I would like your input, both of you guys, is tips and warnings and stories on how a person begins. How does a person begin? Where are they coming? Nutritionally, like with food, with planning, with diaries, with small steps. What advice would you give to somebody that maybe has failed a bunch of times, or I don't know, or is discouraged to go to the gym, or somebody that's been away from it for a long time? And last week we talked about, I think one of the biggest things that we talked about that I took away from it was the no pain, no gain thing, and how it's not kind of a fallacy, but for most people it is a fallacy, because if you do no pain, no gain, so you go what they say 110% every workout, then either you're too sore or you're too much pain, or you just don't perform as well as you could have, or you don't train for strength. There's a bunch of different factors where you're always just going to, like, if you're going to exhaustion, or you just hit it really hard. Say you do like hill runs and you just do a bunch of them in a row and you end up throwing up, and then you get a cramp or tear your hamstring, or you just do all this crazy stuff because your body's not used to it. Or like I gave the example when I was talking to Greg before we started recording for like if you try to do boxing or any kind of movement where you're actually like swinging your arms, like a hard cardio thing, or jiu-jitsu or any kind of martial art where you're snapping your arms, you're snapping your legs. Maybe you were able to do it years ago, or maybe sometimes you can do it, but your body, your joints, and even one of the first times I worked out with Genesis a couple months ago, he told me about you can't hit a lot of the weight hard because your bones aren't used to it. So you have to build up the amount of stress that your bones can take. So I don't know where you guys want to start as far as, do you want to go with food first? Is it good to plan your macro and micronutrients? Is it good to plan out how many carbs and protein you're going to take and fat? Is it, even though I've been talking now for 5 minutes, I want to start off with telling people, if you're going to start, because one of the main points of this show is to encourage people to start or keep doing what they're doing or improve on what they're doing. Like I said, I'm a big fan of constant self-analysis or constant analysis for improvement, because there's always something you can learn, and there's always something that you thought was the rule. How do you call it? The hard, like, this is just like, what do you call it? The truth, or
There's the unwritten rules.
But, a lot of stuff changes all the time. But I would tell people, if you're going to start something and you're thinking about it, Just start. Do anything. Get up and move. I would say, as silly as it sounds, go for a 5-minute walk and make sure that you can take 5 minutes every day and just go for a walk. And then I'll get, if you, Greg, if you want to start with nutrition, or like both of you guys want to take turns with nutrition first, we'll start there.
That works.
But what would you say to somebody? Grab a notebook and just start writing everything you eat, or what would you tell somebody?
I think it kind of just depends on what your level is. So like, let's say if you don't know anything about nutrition, start out slow. Like the whole point of this is to make a lifestyle change and not just, hey, I hit it hard for a month or 2 months and I started seeing results, but then I couldn't keep up with it because it was just intrusive into your lifestyle. So like small steps. So if you don't know anything about nutrition, I would just say, you can grab a notebook, or, there's so many apps now where you can, I'm a big proponent of either counting calories or macro or macronutrients. In what's called, if it fits your macros, is like the diet plan, or, the name of this way of eating. But small steps. Like,
right.
So, somebody might say, like if you're sitting there and you eat 10 pizzas a day, like I would say a small step is eating 9 pizzas a day. Like as bad as that, like that, as
right.
bad as that sounds, like, yeah, man, that's still a lot of pizza, but you're making progress. Like you just took a step forward.
Right.
So I think that's kind of just small progress. So like if you don't know anything about nutrition, you can grab a notebook or, an app on your phone or a website, something, it could be free or you could pay for it, whatever you want to do, but just something small. Just get an idea of how many calories you're consuming a day. You don't even have to change anything. Just log what you normally eat, for a couple weeks. Just get an idea of maybe your total caloric intake for the week. Do that for 2 weeks. Just get an idea. Once you get that number, if you want to gain weight, like let's say, you want to put on muscle, if, you're overweight and you want to lose weight, then you start to tinker with it. So like if you're underweight, you really only want to add in maybe, I don't know, about 100 calories, because you don't want to add in, 1,000 calories and then put on, a pound, or would that'd be 2 pounds a week. That, that's just too much weight. You're not going to put on the right weight. You're going to put on a lot of body fat instead of muscle. But, if you want to lose weight, maybe about 500 calories a day. That just from food will lose you 1 pound a week. You start to add an exercise, it'll start to add up.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to be in, some people say like 1% of your body weight. So like if you weigh 200 pounds, you should be losing about 2 pounds a week. If you weigh 180 and you want to lose weight, you should lose about 1.8 pounds a week.
Yeah.
Things like that. Just like 1% of your body weight a week is just kind of a good rule of thumb, or just 1 to 3 pounds.
I think a big deal too is what you said. Like you have to realize that what you're doing is going to be a lifestyle change. This is the way you're going to do it. It's not going to be like a before and after picture like you see on TV and like magazines and stuff where, somebody they did it. They worked out hard for 3 months. They magically look amazing, and before they looked terrible. And they tell you how good they felt, but then their life was done. And then they stopped going to the gym, and then they stopped eating right. Then they went back to the way that they ate before. That's not, and being one of those people that's part of one of those people that's trying to transition and change. That is something that actually is in my head, and it's not just my head. And it is that thing like, oh, it is a lifestyle change. Oh, I can't, like, it's not good if I stop at a gas station and get a couple cookies every day in the morning with my coffee. Like, no, you actually have to, and there is an impatience. Like if you decide you're going to do something, you have to be patient. One of the things we talked about also last week was about how, like Genesis talked about, how it might take him a year to put 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds on his bench. And he knows that's 365 days. How many workouts is that? That's probably around a minimum of 300 workouts if he's as dedicated as, a lot of people are. That's 300 fucking workouts.
Right.
And that's 300 times where you're tired, and 300 times where, there's got to be an impatience. Not got to be. Okay. There is an impatience for a lot of people where they're like, well, I need to lose weight now because I feel like shit now, and I am tired now, and I have, inflammation.
And I think that's just like, that those small steps, because if you do, let's say if you try to take a big leap, right? You eat nothing but junk food all day, and you try and go on like a fruit and salad or a fruit and vegetable diet. You never eat fruits any day. You don't eat fruits, you don't eat vegetables, and then all of a sudden you're eating mass quantities and nothing else the rest of the day. And then let's say if your weight loss is still into that 1 to 3 pounds a week, and you're like, man, I'm doing this, I'm straining myself to reach this, and it's been 2 weeks and I've only lost 2 pounds, like it's not worth it.
Right.
Whereas if you make those small steps, you might know, you're going to notice a change because you are changing some things. You're eating, whether it's less food or just more nutrient dense food or whatever it is. You make those small changes and it's not as big of a deal. You're like, yeah, maybe I didn't lose as much weight as I wanted to, but it's not a grind for me to get through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you try to make that big leap and just do, clean eating or paleo or keto or, whatever it is, and it's a big leap for you, then, you're not going to sustain it. Right. Even if you are losing weight, even if you're making, better progress than you thought you would, at some point it's still a strain on you.
Right.
Now I'm not saying like you shouldn't do paleo or you shouldn't do keto. Like if it's something that you like and you can sustain, then like that's great, do it. But you just don't want to put. I mean, I think the whole like thing of the show of like no pain, no gain. Like I think that's a great title for this because it does apply to nutrition too. Mm-hmm. In terms of it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh, if you're not struggling to keep with your diet, you're not going to make any progress. Like that's not true. Like you can make little adjustments and make your progress. And the reason why I also bring up the lifestyle factor too is that you don't want exercise and nutrition to get in the way of how you live your life. And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, you can't stop at the gas station and get your cookies anymore.
Right.
I mean, like if your friends go out to watch a game or something like that, oh, hey, we're going to go to, get wings at the, at a restaurant or something like that, watch a football game. You don't want to be like, no, I can't go because I have to eat my salad. You could be like, oh, hey, my friends usually go out to watch, a sporting event on Thursdays. So I'm going to eat, less calories early in the day. That way I have more room to eat at night and I can still go out and enjoy the night with my friends.
Right.
So like you want to have something that you can not ruin your life with. You don't want to be, I lost all my friends because I can't go out and eat with them. I can't go out and drink with them.
These stupid salads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So just small steps, whatever it may be.
Yeah. But
like I said, just somewhere, if you're trying to lose weight, just slightly reduce calories.
Right. And we're talking to beginners because it does seem like if somebody cuts out sugar or somebody cuts out beer or somebody cuts out these things and say you do, your friends know. Say you find out you have a gluten allergy or whatever, and your friends know. For the next like 5 to 10 times you hang out or you do something social or you're with family, they're going to be like, well, come on, and you're going to feel bad and you're going to want to have that beer and you're going to, but
yeah.
Every time you say no, every time you stop yourself, it'll be that much easier the next time. And before you know it, an example is I have 2 brothers. My one brother does have a gluten allergy, and he hasn't had a beer. He's a big beer drinker, and he hasn't had a beer in, I think, almost 7 years.
Yeah.
And it was tough for him at first, not because he's an alcoholic, just because that's how he attached everything. Like when he went out with his buddies, yeah. There's a social aspect. There's a whole, with most families, you eat a lot of bread, and that was difficult too. But after a while, now he eats. He cooks his own food. He goes to restaurants. He knows exactly what to do, and that's that perceived or that whatever that real temporary suffering. It was temporary. It sucked for a little bit, but it ended up being okay. And he did, like you said, he went slow, but then at one point he just was like he did slow for like a year, cut certain things out, tested, did all that. And then at some point he got that, he got disciplined enough and he was strong enough mentally that he's just like, nope, I'm going all in. And then it just was easy. And at first he had bouts where it was really hard. And his hardest times were hanging out with family when we have a big party, or going out with his buddies that he hasn't hung out with a while, or going to like a college football game or something and people are tailgating. And and he's, he's drinking, if he's going to drink, he's drinking like a vodka or something. Everybody else is having beer and, bread, hot dogs and bratwurst and all that stuff. And he's like, well, I'm just going to stick with this lime and vodka or whatever.
Right.
But now he's good. Like, it's, you have to build up, and then eventually you can take a leap or just keep picking away at certain things. And next thing you know, say a year from now, you've made a ton of progress. 2 years from now, you've made even more progress. I mean, I always get impressed when I talk to Genesis about his whole journey to getting to powerlifting in regards to food, in regards to supplementation and all that. He really did. Like, if you were to tell somebody, listen, man, you're going to be able to bench 400 pounds. Cool. Like 3 months from now? No. 8 years from now, you're going to be able to bench 400 pounds.
Right.
Most people you talk to are going to be like, fuck that. But he did it, and he's probably one of the least injury-prone people that I know, and I attribute that to the amount of powerlifting he does and what he puts in his body. You know what I'm saying? Whereas when you talk to me, I'll talk about my toes fucked up, my ankles messed up, I got stomach problems, I'll explode the bathroom when I go to the bathroom, like all this like stuff that's not actually normal. But with a lot of people, and again, being in the Midwest where the majority of us are overweight and unhealthy and don't sleep enough, everybody, this is terrible. We won't dwell on this, but everybody has a I blew up the bathroom story. You're not supposed to blow up the bathroom. You're supposed to take a quick dump and get the fuck out of there. But most people are like, oh man, like I read 3 of the Harry Potter books while taking a shit. Like that's far too much time in the bathroom. And I'll drop it. That's it. I'm no more. Like, one of our topics in the future is going to be poop, and I'm going to get a doctor and a nutritionist in here to talk about that because I think it's important, and a lot of people don't know.
Oh yeah, it is.
So yeah, I mean, what would you say, Genesis? So is it what's it like? What right now we're talking about nutrition and stuff, so we could talk about vitamins too. And Greg, interrupt me for sure because I'm absolutely dominating. Like I'm talking a lot, but
let me just basically in summation is just. You know, you brought up food prepping too, but just everything, just nice and slow, nice and easy. You don't have to go 100% into it. You don't have to pre-pack your meals for the week, but just maybe cook enough healthy food to last you like 2 days. Yeah. That way, when you get home from work, something's already cooked. That way, you can't, maybe do it on a Sunday or if you're off on Monday or whatever day you're off, do it then. Prepare your food for like 2 days. You don't even have to package it and bring it with you. Just something when you get home. You can't use the excuse like, I'm tired, I don't want to cook. Like food's already there for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll let Genesis go.
What I would do in regards to that is I would tell people when my wife would cook dinner, my thing is I always saved enough for the next day. So if I had a steak, a nice big juicy steak, I always make sure I had a fourth of it saved for the next day. So the next day starting out, I already knew I had a planned meal. I wouldn't eat all of it. I would still be full, but that's just what's my slow step approach far as the meal prep. And that's before we got on the same page and I did the expanding it and we decided on Sunday, cook 3 meals and then go from there. And then if you cook 3 meals, then I explained to her, you will have maybe a day off or 2 days off. I can eat leftovers. And that was a big thing for me. I was never a leftover person. I wanted my food fresh, so I never ate leftovers. So that's something I had to do. But back to the whole nutrition part, I'm not a nutritional guru. All the stuff I've learned is all recent and research. But one of the things I tell people, as far as being patient, like for me, my biggest thing was pop soda. So I went from the best invention in the world to me was a 3-liter. I would smash a 3-liter, easy. That's just how I was. Anytime I went out to eat, that's what I would get. Not water, a pop. So I knew that was something I needed to get rid of. So baby steps. So where did I start at? I started with when I went out to eat, I didn't order soda. And that's where I started at. So I saved myself $2-3, and that's the way I looked at it. And that was my baby step. So my advice to people when it comes to being patient or nutrition is take something that you know is hurting you and slowly cut it out. Like I used to drink, I don't drink as much as I used to, but people at work think I don't drink. Do I drink now? Occasionally I drink, but I don't just totally didn't cut it out for years. It's just, I went through a stretch where drinking was giving me, what's the chest pain? Heartburn. And I kept drinking. Every night I was like, what is this weird chest pain? And then I finally realized after a week in a row, it was heartburn. So I had to stop drinking because heartburn hurts like a mother. It really hurts. Yeah. So I cut out drinking and Lord and behold, it stopped, and I got used to it. I stopped drinking dark liquor, a lot of stuff. But yeah, do I occasionally have a drink? Yeah, but I know it's not every night. I don't go out to bars, and not there's anything wrong with it. I'll go out to a bar occasionally and have a drink, but I cut it out, and I got results.
Yeah.
And that kind of proves the point too, is like, you know, no pain, no gain, like being wrong is like, he didn't just completely give up drinking, you know, just cut back. And like, basically that's with everything, is just moderation. You know, you can eat, you know, a piece of cake, but if you eat the whole cake, of course it's bad for you. But if you have a little piece, you know, or, you know, you have a little treat once, twice a week instead of every single day or after every meal, you know, having a dessert after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like, yeah, that's bad for you. But if you have, you know, Sunday night or Friday night, you know, you eat a big meal and you have, you know, some dessert, like, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's just moderation, cut back a little bit.
Yeah.
I tell
Make
people,
it manageable.
I tell people at work all the time, I have fun with the guys at work because I love when everybody, they'll look at me and we'll be talking. They'll say, well, how much do you wage in? And then I'll tell them my weight can fluctuate anywhere from 210 to 220. I go with the higher. I tell people I'm about 220, and their face just drops because, what? I weigh the same as you. No way, no way. I'm like, yeah, you got to realize we're a different type of 220. That's just how it is. And you know, people ask me advice and questions. What should I do? Losing weight, this and that. Because at one point I did lose weight. I went from 240, dropped down all the way to about 207. Then I got back up to 220. That's just where I feel most comfortable at. But what I would tell people, advice for when you're losing weight, is don't focus on the number on the scale. Yes, you can see where you at, but my best thing is let other people judge. They'll let you know when you lose weight. Somebody say, "Man, you losing weight?" Or you know, let your clothes, let other things let you know, because you can lose weight and it can be from somewhere. It's not gonna always be where you want it to be. It's not gonna always be in your stomach or your leg. Everybody holds weight differently in different places.
Right.
And it doesn't take I'm not a nutritional guru. I know how to take heavy things and move it from one place to another. So far as nutrition, I'm not, you know, as seasoned as most, but I do know when my pants fit better 1 month to the next. I mean, I do know when somebody at work sees you and they say, wow, you losing weight. They're not making that up. They're not, nobody at work is trying to impress, you know, we're there just, you know, we go to work to give each other shit. So if somebody say, wow, I look like you're losing weight, you're losing weight, and let that determine, because if you look at the scale and you're only losing a pound a week, I mean, you're going to be like, man, what's this? Well, guess what? That's what it takes. A pound a week, 2 pounds a week that's outstanding when you break it down and you find out what goes into it. And most people don't realize that.
And I'm kind of glad you brought up the, you know, when things start fitting better, or, you know, people start noticing, because that's a big thing too. You know, like, you can't just always look at the scale. I mean, the best time to weigh yourself is in the morning after you wake up. If you have to use the bathroom, use the bathroom. But weigh yourself, because that's going to be your most consistent weight. You could say, oh, I'm going to weigh myself at noon every day. Well, if today you were off and you slept in until 10, 11, you're going to weigh less because you didn't have a chance to eat anything, you know, before you weighed in. Tomorrow you get up at 6 a.m., you have breakfast, maybe even lunch before you weigh yourself, you know, a bunch of liquids. You're going to be more. You know what I'm saying? Like, so always wake up and then weigh yourself, because that's going to be your most truest weight.
Mm-hmm.
But weight loss isn't always linear. So you could, you know, do everything perfect today, work out, eat perfect, step on the scale, and, you know, let's say you're 200 pounds, you wake up at 199 tomorrow. You do the same thing tomorrow, and then you wake up at like 199.5. And you're like, well, what the hell? I just did the same exact thing.
Right.
It's just, you know, maybe you didn't get as much sleep. Maybe, you know, you drank a bunch of water before you went to bed, and it's just water weight fluctuation,
right.
You know, things like that. So, you know, you don't always have to take the scale and the number to be true. You got to look to other things too. You know, like, hey, my clothes are fitting better. You know, I'm only down like 4 pounds, and I've been at this for 4 weeks. I thought I'd be down more, but hey, my clothes are fitting a little better.
That's
somebody
a really
noticed.
good point about it not being linear.
Yeah. And then, you know, too, there might be a day where you wake up and you're like, man, I'm looking lean. You know, I feel like I can see my upper abs coming in or something like that. And then you step on the scale and you didn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, there could be one day where you wake up and you're like, man, I kind of look like shit today. But then you step on the scale and you're down 1.5 pounds. You know, so you just don't know. So, like, you got to kind of look to, you know, a couple different avenues to keep that motivation going.
Right.
So it can't just be what the scale says, or it can't just be how you look in the morning. or just how your clothes fit either. Like, but those are the avenues. So like, if you wake up and you're like, man, I look like shit. You step on the scale, I didn't lose any weight. Put your pants on, they feel a little bit better. You're like, well, hey, that's still a win. That's
Right.
1 out of 3. So that's
Right.
kind of some avenues to kind of look at to keep that positive progression going.
Yeah, that's so true. Twice this year, I had a vacation, and most people, they splurge or they gain weight, you're out of your element. Twice I came back, I lost weight on vacation. So I mean, you never. I just knew when I came back. I figured, I gained 5-10 pounds. I was out of my element. I want to eat it, and it turned out I was so much out of my element with my food and not having to be able to prepare it that I don't know if my body panicked. I don't know what happened, but I found myself standing in Walmart buying stuff that I haven't bought in years, Doritos, Oreos, because I had no clue, what am I going to eat? I'm on vacation. I'm not at home. I can't have my food cooked like I wanted to. And then when I got back and I had real food, just wings or just whatever we had, I was fine. I was hungry. That's all it was. I was hungry. And I thought that I splurged on vacation, and I really didn't. And I came back and I lost a little weight. I kind of stayed around where I was, but I was just knew I gained 10 pounds. But like I said, the weight's linear. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, that was good. That's good. That's true.
Yeah, I find that if you stick with it long term, eventually what you consider splurging also changes quite a bit. So
Right.
I'm in that camp where, so when I look at other people, like I am overweight. I'm considered morbidly obese, I think, by doctor's standards. If you look at
I don't like the BMI, so I
right,
don't
it
take
is
that to
bull.
heart. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But I'm just trying to give a like a picture. If you visualize what like, if somebody's listening and they possibly visualize what I look like, whether that's like a real thing, I don't. What I'm actually trying to do is describe people that are really, really big and fat, or just really, really like don't have a lot of muscular definition, all that stuff. What I can say, it's not for everyone, but it's for a lot of them. I assume that they have the same eating habits that I do, and sleeping habits and all that stuff. And I know what I can do. I can knock out a couple of milkshakes and like 10 to 15 burgers at White Castle. Like I can go to McDonald's and get a number 2 and a number 4. I can go to Wendy's and get 2 meals. Like I can eat like a pig, and to me that's splurging. To me that's, or like you said, like 9 pizzas. I can probably eat a ton of pizza. To me that's splurging. When you get into a healthy lifestyle and mindset, then your definition of splurging changes. So if you're eating really clean for like 6 months or a year and you try to go back to that old way of eating, you will get sick. You will get buzzed off of eating too much sugar. You will get headaches, and your vision will get, like, all this crazy stuff will happen because your body's like, no, man. And what you will also realize is that was your normal before. Feeling like crap was your normal before. Having brain fog was your normal before. And now you have a new normal. And your new normal says that when you look at those foods, I mean, certain sugars you'll always crave because it's just chemistry, and unfortunately it's just how it is. But for the most part, you're going to make better nutritional decisions, and your idea of splurging is to maybe get like something with shrimp and more sauce than usual, or like occasionally get spaghetti, but you'll get it with a ton of veggies in it or something, where it'll just be a different kind of splurging because you know what your body craves and you know how you are and you know how you feel. You're not going to be pounding Oreo cookies and Doritos and dipping them in cheese and all this other stuff because that's not what you crave anymore. But you just have to kind of suffer the change for a while. And like you said, small steps, small steps, small steps. Eventually you'll get somewhere far. And in tonight's topic, the conversation is just advice on where to start. We'll also talk about where you go when you're in the middle of it. And I feel like everybody's in the middle of it. Nobody's at the tail end of it. Like, you're in the middle of it, now what? When do you start to supplement? When do you take vitamins? I think if you can do it, because vitamins, to me, high quality, like good vitamins, they're expensive, man. And it's an expense that just, I don't think most people want to cut out certain things and budget for that. Maybe it's an important thing, but it is a big thing to supplement high quality vitamins, which I think is like, I do think it's important. But what's more important is to put a bunch of vegetables into your body, put a bunch of fruit into your body, get enough sleep, and move more. That's, to me, how you begin. When you get to that middle, then you can maybe make certain cuts in your budget or something, so you can actually, and for some people, maybe that's not a thing. Like, maybe they don't go out much. Maybe they don't do certain things. So it's saying, like, hey, guess what? You have, your new expense is anywhere, a minimum of like $100 a week to get quality vitamins into your body, like supplemented. So, yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else so anything else to add nutrition wise or food wise?
I would say try to get at least 2 fruits in a day, at least 2 vegetables in a day, at least, on top of a multivitamin.
Right.
No, I'm not saying you have to go out and buy like the best multivitamin or whatever, but
but it's a good habit to start.
Yeah, it's a good habit to just take a vitamin in. And like I said, just 2 servings of fruits, 2 servings of vegetables, minimum. And it's really not that hard. I mean, there's so many fruits, so many vegetables out there. I don't care if you eat the same ones every day. It's probably better to vary them up so you vary your vitamins and minerals that you're getting in, but just 2 of each, bare minimum. It's really not that hard.
Right.
No, it's not. They even actually make it easy for you. You can go to the store and they do vegetable blends. I mean, I'm not a vegetable person, never have been until I start eating them and realize, wow, I do like Brussels sprouts because it's, combined with something else. And like I said, I'm just not a big vegetable person, but
Did you
there's
say vegetable bulletin?
Vegetable blend.
Oh, blend.
Yeah,
Sorry.
bulletin.
No, bulletin board with vegetables
What's
on
a
it.
vegetable bulletin?
No, they make, at
yeah.
the store we do the frozen vegetable blend, and that works for me. So have a steak, as you can see, I'm very high on protein. I'm a meat eater.
Yeah.
So I just like to have a vegetable blend with it and have all types of vegetables I ain't never heard of, and I eat it. It's not that hard.
Right. For me, the easiest way is like in the morning, for the most part, I start my day off with a shake, like throw a scoop of vanilla protein in a blender, put like a banana in there, some strawberries, spinach. So like I knocked out 2 fruits and a vegetable. And like you can't even taste the spinach.
Super
in it.
easy. It's super
easy,
delicious.
and it goes down quick.
Yeah.
It's easy, and I'm not usually not hungry in the morning. So just something easy like that.
Yeah. That's good advice. So that's we're at the halfway point. Now we want to hit the workout portion of it.
Sure.
The movement portion of it. I do believe that everybody should at least start with like walking. Walking has been shown to be mentally good for you. Pretty much mentally, it's the biggest benefit. You could look it up on Google. I didn't research. I've just been reading tons and tons of articles for years that the best thing to do is if you could work yourself up to like a 45-minute walk 5 days a week. I mean, it has all kinds of longevity benefits. It had all kinds of immune system benefits, mental benefits. Like you actually reconnect certain like almost dormant connections in your brain when you go for walks. You are more creative. You enjoy things more. And you get away from at least for that 45 minutes, you're away from the electronics. You're away from everything buzzing all the time and all that because you need that.
Hence the phrase, take a walk. What do they always say when you get heated and you see in a basketball game, or you see even in any movies or anything, or your parents, or what do they say? Calm down. Take a walk.
Right.
There's a reason behind that saying.
So if you've already done that and you're ready to make that like first step, I think if you're intimidated, I think those cardio classes, yoga classes, anything where there's a bunch of people, I think that's also very beneficial to begin. But I also think that going to, like, most places will give you a free consultation with a trainer the first time. I think everybody should be educated for like however long one of those sessions takes. Greg, you're obviously more familiar with that.
Right.
But somebody can go through maybe 5 major exercises where they could do and just kill the mystery of weightlifting, of strength training. What is a curl? What is a bench? What is a squat? What is a lunge? Those kind of things. Because resistance training is also, there's just so many things that are so beneficial. When you watch the news, like most of us, we get our information from now the internet and the news. And if you're not specifically like fitness minded, or you haven't, you're not in the middle of a trial and error phase of what's good for you, or, you're not a baller, so you're paying for some trainer to tell you exactly what to do, and nutritionist and all that stuff. A lot of people are afraid, or still in this year, there's still a lot of people that don't understand how important it is to actually resistance train, to lift, not just lift weights, but just lift something that's heavier than your body is used to. They say it's one of the best ways to save your bone density as you get older. Like
Right.
your bones stay strong or they slow down. I'm not an expert, but
Resistance, it'll slow down.
it'll
especially
slow
in
down
old
the
age, it'll
hollowing of
slow-
your bones.
Right. Or getting brittle, basically.
Right, getting brittle. So, I mean, what do you guys say as far as what would you tell somebody? We'll go this way. What would you tell somebody that decides? So they've been walking for a while. They feel great. They've lost a little bit of weight, but the biggest benefit is they just feel great. One of the worst things about before you begin your new life as a person that's more fitness minded and more active is that it's that catch-22. Like, I don't want to get up and I don't want to eat right. Like, I feel like crap. But you feel like crap because you're not putting good food in your body and you're not moving. But so it's like this circle.
Right.
So once you break the circle and you start walking, you start moving, make a couple small changes with your food, you decide I'm going to the gym. What do you guys tell somebody?
Same thing. Like, just start out slow. You don't have to go in the gym. You don't have to. Biggest thing is check your ego at the door. So many people walk into the gym and like, oh, I'm so tough. Like, oh, I can outwork you, or I can lift more weight than you. It's like, check your ego at the door, do the exercise properly, and just same thing. Start out slow. Like, there should be some sort of progression in your workouts. But yeah, I mean, if you go like Sreten said, like most places offer that consultation. Take it; it's free. Sure, they might, at the end of it, try and pressure you into buying some training packages, but just if you don't like it or you don't want to do it or you can't afford it, just say no.
Right.
They're not going to hate you. I like when I do one, like a consultation, like I try to just inform people. First of all, I just sit them down and ask them what their goals are. Like, oh, I'm just trying to, lose a little bit of weight, get a little bit stronger, look a little bit better. And for the most part, that's across the board. That's what everybody wants. But not everybody realizes that resistance training is the best way to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to do a little bit more bodybuilding style or powerlifting style, resistance training is the only way you're going to get there. Because when you're losing weight, you're going to lose muscle mass. It doesn't matter, even if you're strict, on nutrition, perfect on nutrition, you're going to lose some muscle mass. Like, that's just how it happens, how it works. But by doing the resistance training, you're going to maintain as much of that muscle mass as possible. And that's kind of what you want. Like, even, a lot of women are like, no, I don't want to lift. I just want to be toned. Well, muscle is tone. Muscle is lean. Like, you're not going to get big and bulky, especially if you're in a caloric deficit. Like, if you're losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
you will not get bigger unless you're an absolute beginner that's never touched anything in their life. Like, you will not put on muscle while you are losing weight unless, you're taking steroids or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you will not. So like, that's going to give you your shape. Like, and then on top of that, just like, what's your biggest goal? Like, hey, I really want my arms to look better. Well, then train your arms more often than not.
Yep.
Like, people kind of, and this is a little bit more, I guess, moderate, lifters or I don't know, I don't know if I'd say advanced, but kind of that not beginner. Well, I don't know what's middle, moderate, right?
I don't know, just not beginner.
Yeah. So
I guess just not beginner.
right. So
Intermediate.
Yeah.
Intermediate.
Yeah. That's what I was searching for. They kind of get into this, oh, I got to do chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, or however they do it. Oh, I got to do push, pull, legs routine, whatever it is. But, like, especially for Genesis, like if he's going to a powerlifting meet and, he's really happy with his bench, really happy with his deadlift, but he's like, man, my squat's kind of lagging. Well, then start squatting more often, train your legs more often. Like, do what you're trying to achieve more often.
Right.
Build up that volume. That's going to create the best change.
Right.
But yeah, just for beginners, man, I mean, you could even just stick to machines until you're comfortable going to free weights, stuff like that. Like, just get your movement patterns down, get like a base level of strength, and just kind of just go from there.
I'd like to come back to that part where you said check your ego at the door, where either somebody that's been away from it for a while goes back into it, they think they're tough, or somebody hits it super hard. You are more prone to injury. You have to build your body. Your body needs to know. It needs to adapt, and the body's amazing. It will adapt.
Right.
But that check your ego at the door thing could also be there's a lot of people that are intimidated when they go to the gym. They think you get in there and you get on the bench or you grab a dumbbell or you go on one of the machines and, you know, people are going to laugh at you and point at you and look at you and, you know, whisper behind your back.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some idiots that do that.
Some
but for the
idiots
most
do
part,
that.
like, you know,
Yeah.
no, like everybody's there because they're not where they want to be, right? I
Right.
mean, because you're improving yourself. So
Right.
it doesn't matter where you're starting or what you're doing.
Right.
To be honest, when I'm sitting, like if I'm in the gym, like in between sets and I see somebody walk in and I see them just like try and go at weight that's way too heavy for them, like in my mind, I'm more like, man, just like chill out. Whereas like if I see somebody who's like extremely overweight, you know, if they're curling fives or if they're just sitting on a, you know, a bike going super slow, like I don't even think anything of it.
Right.
You know, whereas like somebody who's afraid to go into the gym is like, oh, okay, at least, you know, somebody's more out of shape than I am, or, you know, tries to lift more weight than somebody standing next to him because, you know, I'll fit in better if I could do more weight. Like, no, like everybody can
Right.
tell, you know, like you are the outlier.
Right. Right.
That's
You know
when
what
you
I'm
get
saying?
laughed at when you.
Yeah.
The guy that comes in and sits on the bench or tries to deadlift or try to squat some weight that they know they can't or just think they can, and then they end up falling or they end up getting stuck and you got to help them out. Those are the guys. I'm sorry, I will laugh at them because I'm right there, and yes, you can tell that maybe I'm probably a little stronger than you. Why didn't you ask me? Why did you say, "Hey, let me get a spot" or this and that? So that guy that comes in and thinks he can outlift me or wants to lift more than they can, I'm gonna laugh. But that person that may be a little bit overweight or just there, just doing something, or that older person. When I go early in the gym. Upstairs, the whole gym, just machine weights. They have senior citizens. They're doing their thing. They're in. I don't notice them. I know they're up there. They're working out. I expect it. I expect to see them. But that person that comes in, check your ego out the door. If you come in and you're in an instant competition, you're gonna lose that battle. And yes, you're gonna be intimidated because once you fail at trying to be this macho person, then yes, it's going to be intimidating. Even if then those guys usually don't come back. Usually what happened, you try to do something you're not capable of, you don't do it, and then you kind of hang around the gym a little bit, and then they go to the locker room and they leave. And that's their fault.
And you could injure yourself. Right.
And yeah, I mean, one part you can injure yourself. It's not.
And I just want to, like, there's nothing wrong with failing at the gym. And, like, I'm sure Genesis can attest to this.
Oh,
I mean,
all
he's
the
a
time.
power lifter. Like, he's trying to lift 100% of the weight he can lift. And sometimes he might overreach a little bit and miss. But there's a difference when, you know, you have a spot and you're doing the exercise properly and you miss the weight than if you come in and maybe you can only curl 20 pounds, but you grab the 50-pound bar anyways. And then you look like an idiot. You know, like that there's a big difference between those two things. Like, experienced lifters, like, you're going to fail. Or, you know, maybe you get 8 reps, but you really wanted 10, so you try and grind out 2 more, and sure, form might break down or something like that, but you know that's understandable. Whereas if like you can't even do one repetition properly,
Yeah, it's conditioning your body. I think I told you, Sreten, when you come in and you're doing a weight, you're slowly conditioning your body. And I'll tell people when it comes to lifting, I'm not gonna go somewhere or come in a day. I'm not gonna put this insurmountable weight on the bar and try to lift it when I know my body's just not ready for it. But what I will do, I'll find a middle ground and I'll work my up there. Hence, no pain, no gain. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put anything that I'll push myself. I fail, I fail this week. Just as soon as Monday, it wasn't in the cards for what I had planned. But I didn't do anything that I can't come back next week and finish.
Right. Yeah. So, just keep at it.
Yeah. And as far as for since we're for a beginner, for me, helping a beginner out, a lot of times at work people say, "Yo, Jen, what can I do to get strong as you?" And I'll tell them, "Well, start from scratch. That's where you got to start at." Or somebody will say, "Yo, Jen, I start going to the gym. I'm coming for you." I'll tell them, "Well, we can work out together because if you're coming for me, you gonna be coming for a long time." I got a little arrogance in that sense, just jokingly, but I'll tell people, they're like, when I get together, when I get to this way, or when I get it, after a while, we're gonna work out together. Why can't we work out now? Man, I ain't trying to do all that weight you doing. I said, all right, this is what'll happen when you work out me. I go first. I put what I'm gonna do on the bar, and it's my turn. We wait, and when it's your turn, we take everything that I put on the bar off, and then we put what you can do on the bar, and we repeat, and we repeat. That's how it is when you work out with me. You don't have to lift a certain weight. You have, it's patience. And I also tell somebody, a beginner, I would say, like we touched on earlier, choose what you want to do. If you want, like I said, I was going to say, if you want bigger arms, then let's get you bigger arms. If you want bigger calves, let's get you bigger calves. I hate when people say I want to be toned, because I have no idea what tone is. That's just maybe that's the powerlifting.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, maybe that's the powerlifter speaking to me. But when somebody say I just want to be in good shape, or I just want to get toned, I'm lost. Like, all right, you want bigger arms? Or what do you want? Because I don't know. If you, it's okay. Yes, check your ego, but it's okay to want something. It's okay to say, you know what, I want my arms to be big, and just, all right, you can have bigger arms because that's what you want. A couple years ago, maybe last year, I wanted bigger forearms. For some crazy reason, I wanted these big ass forearms. And you know what I did? We have a forearm machine that I've never seen in any other gym. It's an actual machine with 6 different forearm functions you can do. I did it every other day, and I have some pretty big ass forearms, but that's what I wanted. It was, and so for a beginner, you have to start from scratch. That's what I say. You have to start from scratch. You have to start from, 5 pounds. It's okay to pick up 5 pound dumbbells and curl them, because guess what comes after 5? The 5 pound dumbbells. Right next to the 5 pound dumbbells, it's the 10 pound. It's the 15 pound. That's the reason why it goes in numerical order. There's a reason for that, and you can work your way. Be patient and start from scratch. Start at your fitness level, and work your way up.
Right. I want to touch on 2 things that you mentioned. One is, you mentioned that people are like, oh, wait a few months and then I'll work out with you, or something like that. Really, the only difference between, what an advanced lifter and like a beginner is really time. Like, you're not going to come in like, especially if you want to be a power lifter, right? So if you're like, oh man, Genesis, I want to be a power lifter, I'll train with you in, a few months when I'm closer, or, a couple of years when I'm closer to where you're at. Why would you wait? Like, the exercises are the same. The only thing that's different is he could do more weight, and he may be able to do more sets than you. You don't have the endurance to do, I don't know how many sets he does, but like, let's say he does, 5 or 10 sets per lift. I may come in, I may only be able to do 3. That doesn't mean I can't work out with him, or we can't alternate turns. Like, the exercises don't change.
Right.
The competition lifts are still bench, deadlift, squat. Like, it's not going to change. Same thing if I'm doing, a powerlifting routine. You can do all the exercises I can do. You might not be able to do as many reps or, as much weight or as many sets, but you could still come in with me. You could still train with me, and we could still get a good workout in together. Might take a little bit longer because we're going to be changing weights and stuff like that, but that's fine. I don't, if I have the time, I don't care.
Right.
And the second thing is, when people say they want to get in shape or just get toned, you need to have don't pick a different body image. Like, oh man, I saw Chris Hemsworth in that new, Avengers or whatever, and I want to look like him. Because no matter what you do, you will never look like him. You may get like just as big as he is muscle-wise. You may get just as lean as he is, but your body's going to look different. Right. Like your abs, like some people have like picture perfect abs. Other people you see like one's above the other and they're like not, lined up. But there's no exercise you could do to fix that. Like, that's just the genetic makeup of your body.
Right.
Yeah. I got that Morpheus from that second Matrix 6-pack, the fat man 6-pack.
But yeah, like you can get your arms bigger, but like they may not have a huge peak on them, but they look huge, or, same thing with your triceps. So like, just look at yourself and just like envision yourself a little bit better, each time. Like, don't pick, a fitness magazine model to chase after, or Arnold, to chase after. Just be a better you, not, I want to be, I want to look just like Genesis, or I want to look just like, because you're not. Like, your genetic makeup. Like
That's exactly what I said. That's the one thing we haven't touched. I'm pretty sure we're going to touch, sooner or later. Is we ain't talked about genetics. When you get into genetics, I mean, a whole other element that it plays a role into it. Genetics is serious. Blame or thank your parents for that one.
So we're at the 55-minute mark, and I want to say, do you have any closing, anything to close with? Any last comments that you would like to give advice for the beginner, or something we missed, or something you want to touch on again? Anything you want to, Genesis, you look like you were going to, I probably interrupted you.
No, I just want to say, no matter whatever your fitness level is, beginner, intermediate, we got your spot. You like that plug? No, no. I just want patience is the key. Is just. I mean, I'll probably end that every show just to remember. Just be patient in whatever you want to do. There's so many variables at play. That's why we got your spot. And we're gonna try to cover all of them. You know, every week we're gonna touch on something that you may have not known or heard or thought of. Like a lot of stuff that I know, they're all things that I've thought about in my head, or they're theories. And I do a lot of research. I still research stuff, social media, and I'm not big on social media except for working out stuff, but I'm always saving stuff. There's just so much wealth of information and knowledge out there that you can learn. And I'm average. I'm just some average guy, you know, family, kids, I work, and you know, I started at the scratch, you know, at the bottom from scratch. And it just be patient. That's just most important when it comes to lifting and nutrition, because I'm very far from being the most educated person come with nutrition. I'm learning stuff right now today that I didn't think about as far as nutrition, and I'm always looking up stuff and trying to learn. So just be patient and just be willing to put in the research and the hard work.
That's good advice.
And you know, I agree with the patience. Consistency. You have to be consistent.
Right.
Even, and I think I mentioned this last week, but even like a shitty workout routine is better than no workout routine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and for beginners, even if you find something online, like it's, I don't want to go too long here, but you know, if you find something online, like that's fine. You know, like something simple, easy, you know, that you can be like, man, I know what this machine is. Or I saw that at my gym. Like, that's fine. Follow it. It's going to be better than going in there and not knowing what to do. And it's going to be better than not going.
Right.
In terms of nutrition, like I said, just small steps. You know, I mean, maybe we could do something like later on, but you know, I can get a little bit more in depth on nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
But just small steps. Try not to overwhelm yourself.
Right.
And that's just kind of how I'll end it. Same thing with lifting, just small steps.
That's good. Well, to everybody listening, good luck. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, if you are hearing us now, we are on YouTube, but I'm not plugging anything just yet. We'll have the website up in about 2 weeks. And then, thanks for listening, and have a great week.
We got your spot. I don't know why. I'm always like how that sound, man.